Welcome everyone, my name is Matt, and today we'll be continuing development on our Elder Scrolls add-on called SimpleClock. In the last video, we worked on providing an English and French translation. In this video, we're going to add a feature that allows the clock to be 100% customizable, allowing the user to provide their own custom formatting codes. If you remember, os.date provides an output based on a datetime format that is provided to the function. The formatting codes are provided on screen right now. In order to allow the user to define this string, all we need to do is to provide another setting in our settings pane of type editbox. This is a box that allows users to type in and is provided by libaddon menu natively. Let's add the edit box by adding a new field to the options data table with an ID of 5, which is in brackets. In curly braces, let's set the type equal to editbox, name equal to getString, and in parentheses SimpleClock_ClockFormat, comma, tooltip equals getString, SimpleClock_ClockFormat_tooltip. The getFont equals function, start parentheses, end parentheses, return getClockFormat, start parentheses, end parentheses, end, and the setFont to setFont equals function, in parentheses, clockFormat, in parentheses, setClockFormat, start paren, clockFormat, end paren, and then end. So it's going to be very important to provide a tooltip here, which is where we'll list the formatting codes for users to customize their clock. This way, users don't have to look up the clock formatting codes themselves. We're going to store the clock format in a saved variable. Let's go down to the defaults and create a new default saved variable called clockFormat. I set my clock format to %A, %uppercase B, %D, comma, %H, colon, %M, colon, %S, same as the first video. Next, let's create two functions, getClockFormat and setClockFormat. GetClockFormat will just return saved variables.clockFormat, and setClockFormat will have saved variables.clockFormat equal to the passed clock format, which is the argument we passed into the function. Now, the save variable will be updated whenever the user changes something in the edit box. Finally, to reflect the changes that the user makes to the edit box, we need to change our clock function. I have created a new local variable called time, which is an empty string. Then I check to see if the saved variable.clockFormat is empty by using a self-defined function called isempty. We'll define that in a second. If saved variables.clockFormat is empty, then time equals os.date with the formatting codes that we set previously. Else, time equals os.date, and we pass the saved variables.clockFormat, which is the formatting codes that the user defined. Let's quickly define isempty. We need to pass a string, so the local argument, let's just call s. I want to handle if the string is empty or nil. So let's say return s equals empty string, or s equals nil, which will return a Boolean true if the string is in fact empty or nil. Remember to add the string localizations for all the languages you want to support. For the string IDs SimpleClock_ClockFormat and SimpleClock_ClockFormat_tooltip. If you don't understand what this means, please go watch the last video that I did on localization. We explain everything there. I recommend providing the formatting codes that os.date can accept in the tooltip. And here's what I came up with for en.lua and fr.lua. Let's jump back into the game and test it out. We can see the edit box and we can see the formatting codes that we have by default, which is what we expect. Then let's try to add a $P for AM/PM support, and it looks like that works too. Now let's write current time, colon, at the beginning of the string. Yes, doing it this way allows for non-formatting strings too. Looks like it works like a charm. We see current time, colon, and then the date time right after it. So while we're here, let's fix the ugly font names to something that's easier to read and more beautiful for the user. Let's go into simpleclock.lua and create a global table called font table. Then let's populate the table like we would a dictionary. In Lua, the key is surrounded by square brackets and separated from the value by an equal sign. The font table will be our key between translating the string the game expects, for example, medium_font, and what the end user will see, for example, medium. Let's populate the table with some nicer values. Here's what I came up with. Then, in getFont, let's get the saveVariables.font and set it to a variable called svfont. Then, because the ESO expected values are the key, all we have to do to get nicer looking font values is return font table, and in square brackets, sv_font. In setFont, we have to be careful. It's in reverse. So what I thought of doing was creating a reverse table for quick lookups at startup, and this was to be defined at startup. But that, in fact, took a bit too long to define and created unpredictable behavior. Instead, I decided to iterate through the table and look to see if the past font in setFont was the value of the current row in the table. If it was, then I used the key to set the savedVariables.font variable and set the SimpleClock label font. It's not elegant, but it gets the job done. Finally, let's populate the dropdown in the menu to the nicer looking font names. I created another function called getFontChoices that created a local table called fontChoices. Then I iterated through the font table and appended the value of font table to fontChoices. The end result will look like the table that exists in the hard-coded options data font row. The syntax for appending to a table is fontChoices and in square brackets $fontChoices plus 1 equals v. This allocates the next space in the table to the value that we're iterating over. We need to return font choices at the end of the function. In initializeSimpleClockAddon, we need to call getFontChoices after setClockFormat and store the return value into a local variable, which I call fontChoices. We can use the fontChoices variable to replace the hard-coded table of font names as shown here. Generating the list of fonts and their associations at the beginning of Addon startup is a good idea because it provides one point of change. For example, in the unlikely event that ESO provides a new font, all we have to do is add it to the global font table at the beginning. This is also generally best practice. The font table could easily be transferred over to a config file, and this could be applied in many other different contexts as well. Let's jump back into the game and see the fruits of our labor. Looking at the font dropdown, everything seems to be working with our new font names. We can get, set, and still change colors and the font size. Changing the client to French, we can see our French language support and still see the functionality working like a charm. That's all for today. Thank you so much for giving me your time. If you enjoyed the video and learned any tips, tricks, or new information, please consider giving me a like or subscription. It does mean a lot. Hope to see you in game. Bye for now.